Today's Leadership Corner conversation is about equity, strategy, and leading with purpose across every space you enter. Our guest has spent nearly 3 decades shaping organizations, influencing culture, and building systems that create real, sustainable impact. This is a conversation about inclusive leadership, bridging people and performance, and what it truly means to lead in a way that transforms both organizations and communities. Hey, welcome to It's a YP Thing podcast. I'm Pansy Johnson, and I'm all about encouraging, educating, and elevating young professionals. And on this podcast, our mission is to impact the next generation of leaders through authentic conversations and real life experiences. And y'all, we are back with another episode of the Leadership Corner series, and I'm super excited about our guest today. She is a phenomenal woman in her own right. She is an authentic leader, and she just comes with so much experience and wisdom and knowledge that she's going to be sharing with us today. But before I introduce her, I want to go through just some of the things and highlight just some of her experiences to share a little bit about her. So she is the founder and principal consultant of the Dadden Group. Nearly 30 years of leadership experience across corporate, nonprofit, higher education, and community sectors. She is a former Chief Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Officer at Southern Bancorp. She is a former D&I leader at Walmart, Arvis Bank, and Indiana University, where she launched the first supplier diversity program for a higher education institution in the state. Yes, y'all heard that right. She has been nationally recognized as a diversity executive, speaker, and strategist. She is a first generation college graduate and community leader. She earned her bachelor's of business administration from HBCU, Lemoyne-Owen College, and a master of science in management from Indiana Wesleyan University. She is a certified diversity executive and holds a diversity, equity, and inclusion certificate from the University of South Florida, Muma College of Business. So without further ado, I would like to welcome Miss Latricia Hill-Chandler.
Hi.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Yes, I'm super excited to have you on the podcast. How does it feel just hearing all of it, all of your accomplishments?
Every time I'm introduced from that bio, it makes me smile because I've come a long way and it was really earned. Nothing was given to me in that bio. It was all earned. But it also gives me a sense of that's the professional me. So you read the professional me, so we can get into a little bit of that and a little bit of me, who I really am. So I'm just excited and blessed to just even hear when I hear people say that, I go, is that me? You know,
That's you. That's you. You're right. We got into the professional you, and today we're going to get into you, your journey.
Absolutely.
So if you are tuning in for the first time, we launched the Leadership Corner series this year. And so what this series is all about is bringing in leaders to talk about their career journey, to talk about where they started, right? Because where they are right now, that's not where they started. And so I'm excited for you to take us on this. So just to jump straight into the conversation, let's start from your childhood. Like, where are you originally from, and how was it growing up? And can you remember, I guess, one moment that really started to shape that interest in leadership and equity and kind of getting you on that track of leading you to where you are now?
Yes, Pansy, this is a good question that I often enjoy talking about because I grew up in LA.
Okay.
Wait now, before you go there. I'm not talking about LA as in Los Angeles.
That's exactly where my mind was. I was like, okay, city girl.
No, ma'am. I grew up in LA as in Lower Arkansas. Magnolia, Arkansas, to be exact.
Wow, so good.
You ever heard of Magnolia?
Yes. My family on my mom's side is actually from there.
Okay. So they all know LA.
Yes.
Single mother. I have a brother who now lives in El Dorado. He didn't move far. I was always the kid that my mother used to say the one that would go to the schools because the teachers would say, Latricia is just talking too much.
That was me too. Okay, always talking.
Always talking.
It worked out.
It did work out. It did work out. Always talking, but always was extremely opinionated. And it started with, it's the opposite of my mother. So my mother and my brother both are very, and my child actually, are very, I won't say passive, but they kind of, they'd rather make you feel better than themselves. And I grew up kind of realizing, okay, I'm here to make other people feel better. But then once I got older and people just continued to kind of abuse that, I said, no, I'm gonna start making me feel better.
Right.
As a senior in high school, I was the Black class president, and we had a white class president. Wow. We had a Black prom and a white prom. And this was in 1992. Okay. So I had to endure, I was an athlete, I was a volleyball player. And so on the court, everybody is kind of just an athlete. But there was a lot of segregation. Didn't really hit me at that moment what Black and white really meant. Because again, coming from the small town, it wasn't, like racism wasn't just in your face.
Right.
It was more subtle. Again, Black class president, white class president. We had two different classes of people, although the white people loved to party with us. So after high school, I decided, after doing a little stint at UCA and realizing that I wanted to be different. UCA to me was the same as Magnolia High School was, and so I wanted to go away. I decided to go to Memphis. And go to HBCU, Lemoyne on. And my HBCU changed my life.
Wow.
When you hear people say that, it's like a slogan. No, that's for real. Especially if you come from a place like Magnolia, your HBCU will change your life. Okay, so did that and became grown early on. Realized that I needed to, I lived in an apartment. I didn't live on campus. I worked and I went to school part-time. Full-time employee. School part-time student, full-time employee, part-time student. Because I had bills. I had a car, I had an apartment. I had to take care of myself.
Right.
So did that. Fast forward, graduate, had a nice job at the time per se, and just kept growing up in leadership, started getting promotions and things like that. Finally decided the company I was with said, hey, if you want to, do a little bit more, you got to go to our corporate office, which is in Indiana. Like, okay, I had in my mind, I'm going to go to Indiana for a little while, and I'm going to come back. Nashville, Tennessee was supposed to be my home because I was in Memphis, and I would visit Nashville, love Nashville. So I was like, I'm moving back to Nashville. Went to Indiana, working for a company, promotion, and I remember working in a diversity field at the time. Okay. And I remember having a meeting, and I remember walking into this meeting where I was the only Black and the only female in the room. This is a room full of all old white men. It might have been, it was probably 10 men in the room, and then me, and of the 10 men, maybe 2 were younger. And I went in there and I was talking about diversity, how I wanted to start doing, introduce something around diversity. At the time, it was supplier diversity at the time, around how I wanted to do some things with some minority businesses. And Pansy, let me tell you.
You got to tell me.
They didn't hear nothing I said. I was in there with my laptop. I'm thinking I'm really doing it. Right. I'm doing my presentation. They were talking over me. They were ignoring me. They didn't hear anything I had to say. And I could not think of why. Why are these men? And then I started thinking in my head after I was just so humiliated. And I remember one of the younger white guys at the time, he was like, okay, guys, let's listen to her. Let's hear what she has to say. And I remember going to my car after that meeting was over, and I beat the steering wheel like, okay. And I tried to figure out why. What was it? Was it I had red pumps on? Was it because I had the red pumps on? Was it because I had the red lipstick on? Was it because I I was younger? Was it because I was educated? Was it because like I had natural? Was it because I had natural hair? Like, what was the reason why they treated me like that?
Right.
That's the first time I felt excluded, in a sense, in a business, in a corporate world, and that hurt me to the core. I was sad. I was mad. I was upset. I was defeated. I didn't know how to really take on. Why are they treating me this way? I tried to figure out what it was, and then I didn't know, and just realized it was just a matter of exclusion.
Wow.
And so fast forward on, that's what got me into the work
turning point
of DEI. Because I said, if I'm feeling like this, I don't want anybody else that I know or don't know to feel like this ever again. So what can I do individually? That made me decide this is the work that I'm going to go into. So that's how I got into DEI. True story. From coming from Magnolia, being the Black class president, and I forgot this little part. So being the Black class president, we had to have fundraisers to have events. Like the school sponsored the white class. And so we had, the traditional fish fries and church choir concerts and all that kind of stuff. So then I was like, okay, so that means I had to work extra hard. Yeah, just to be who I am. So that's how I got into the DEI space.
Wow.
Sorry, I know that was a long way around the
mulberry bush. No. That was good. We're going to unpack it all. Okay. We needed all that.
Okay.
But we're going to unpack it.
Okay, let's go.
So even early on, you already, like that segregation piece.
Yes.
Right? So at the time, you don't really, sometimes when you're experiencing exclusion, segregation, even that young.
Yes.
You're not really processing it. But as time went on, it started to make more sense.
Absolutely.
So I want to, before I'm trying to take us on a journey, but I'm ready to go there. So we're going to go back and we're going to take a couple steps back. So first generation college student.
Yes. Yep.
And was you moving to Indiana, was that your first time, like moving away from home?
Well, I had went to Conway for a while. Which wasn't like moving away from home, like I said, because it was so much like Magnolia, right? And then I moved to Memphis. So after I decided I moved to Memphis for a while, and that was away from home. And it was actually a small culture shock. Okay. And then when I moved to Indiana, which was farther home, because it was like a 13-hour drive from my mama at the time. And I was like, yeah, I'm a big girl now. Yeah. So, but first generation college grad, I promised my mom, I was like, I'm gonna make you proud, like some kind of way. So I'm gonna stick in school. And then when I went to an HBCU, shout out to HBCUs. I mean, my baby going to HBCU too. But it does change your life, because you learn and understand culture and the real meaning of culture, not the culture that you're read about in school books at the time in history. Right. You literally are in a classroom where I'll never forget this true story. At the grocery store in Memphis, my mama came to visit one time. My African American history teacher walked in the grocery store, and I remember walking down the aisle and seeing him and turn around, because I knew he was going to tell my mom, I talk too much. You remember that part? It didn't change when I got to college. And so, sure enough, he called me, Miss Hill. Yes, sir. He was like, how you doing? And he's like, is this your sister? My mom. And she was like, no, I'm her mother. And he goes, yeah, Miss Hill's a great student. She's a great student. He said she is eager to learn. He said she's very opinionated. He said, and she just loves to talk. And so my mother gave me this, the mama look, and he goes, but I love having her in my class. He said, because he said she keeps me energized. Exactly. He said, I could tell she wants to do something with her life, and she has a reason, because it was an African American history class. Remember, I came from Magnolia, Arkansas, and didn't really understand a lot of our history. Wasn't even aware, Pansy, of a lot of our history. So he broke it down in a way that I was constantly asking questions. And my mama was like, okay, I'm going to need you to. And I was like, Mama, this talking it's going to make me successful one day. Watch. And sure enough,
I love that. I love that so much. So I want to go back to Indiana. So that specific experience.
Yeah.
I want to know, after that happened, I know you were upset. I know that's a lot to take in.
Yeah, it is. And I was there by myself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you're away from home. You're 13 hours away from home.
Yes.
You have went through this experience that really has shifted something in you.
Yes.
I want to talk a little bit about that. Like, when you went back, what was the mindset, and how did that fuel you, as you move forward? Because some people, you go through that, you like, listen, let me look on LinkedIn.
Yes, I'm done with that.
I'm done with this today. Yeah. But like, that fueled you.
It did. It really did.
Let's unpack that a little bit.
So, again, that moment, I went to my car. I was a young professional, and I was moving up fairly quickly. Again, I had got promoted to be there. And so now I hadn't always understood how to channel my emotions, of course. But that was a time that I was like, okay, you think you exclude me, you won't exclude me again. And I started understanding, and kind of I think that was a time around I started reaching out, trying to find a mentor. I started watching other women in the company, and I think I even maybe kind of popped off a little bit at the time. Remember, I'm 20, had to be 23, 24 years old, and I'm given this charge of this, and then I'm excluded. And remember, I was feeling like trying to figure out what was wrong with me on why they were not excluded. So it took a lot of soul searching, a lot of talking to my mama to find out, is anything wrong with me? Because I'm, they're excluding me in this. And she kind of kept saying, no, you go do what you were taught to do. Right. My family is a big family on faith. And so she kind of was saying, I need you to, to talk to Jesus about this. And of course, my mama, rest in peace.
Pray about it.
She would pray about it. And she gave me a couple scriptures to read and figure out. And then I just kind of started in myself. It was an inner drive. So I think people need to understand, you have to have an inner drive on how to do this. Nobody's going to give it to you. As I mentioned earlier, none of that was given to me. So I then became, like I said, I wanted to be a poster child for other people who were feeling excluded, because now I know what it really feels like, especially in a corporate setting. I just want to come here to do my job. Like, I don't want to come here to be mad and sad and angry and, so.
Right.
I dug deep and found what my roots were, kind of like what my mother, and again, my mother was a single mother of 2 children, who me and my brother still talk about it today. We didn't know we were poor. We didn't know we were poor, because we just didn't know. And so once you get out and kind of see the world and see other things and see how much stuff costs and see how much, living is, you go, okay, mama had to do all this. Yeah. So I was like, okay, you see better, you see different, you see better, you want better. And I was like, how do I get better? Okay, first you got to have a job. So you may have to work with all these white men now you got to ask somebody, how do I play the game? Like, how do I learn how to play this game? I want to play. It don't feel good, but tell me how to do it. If you show me how to do it and tell me how to do it, and that part. So that part.
That part. When you are in a space, and I think it's a lot of young people, just professionals in general, that may be going through that right now.
Oh, yeah.
That are feeling like, listen, I'm trying not to give up, but this is hard, because a lot of people get into corporate and they get out just as fast as they get in.
Yes.
Because it's like a sink or swim. Truthfully, I'm in corporate, so I know it's not for the weak at all. And I think anyone in corporate would say it's not for the weak. But let's go into that. Like, how do you learn, right? And I'm a young professional, so yes, teach me right now. But I guess just give us a piece of advice of like what you would say to a young professional that may be listening, that is like sitting in that moment right now that you faced at that time. Yeah. And it's like, how do I learn from this rather than run from it?
Oh, yeah.
Like, I think really in corporate, you can't run. You won't survive.
You can't get away.
You can't get away. So how do I learn from this situation and grow from it? What would you say to that?
I would say attaching yourself to a mentor is really important. Like, get you somebody that you can be real with and talk about your struggles with, and talk about and get with someone who probably has been there. Because trust me, I'm at the age, I've been a professional. I've been a young professional. Like, again, I was 20 something years old with a manager's title, running a department with. I was prime example. I worked for this company that in Memphis that I moved up the ranks really quickly. My leadership style kind of came out, and they were a union organization. So I had men, and I worked and I covered all three shifts. And I remember I had men and women who were way older than me. And it was a union. I don't know if you know much about unions, but unions control and run sort of the organization.
Right.
And these were people who I was constantly getting grievances written on me just because I was trying to make them do their jobs. They weren't doing their jobs. And was I liked? No. But was I respected? Yes. And so you can like somebody and not respect them, and you can respect somebody and not like them. And so I would say find you a mentor. I found somebody who saw success in me, and kind of took me under the. I was like, can you help me? Help me not pop off, because again, and you're young, and young professionals,
They already talk
These
about our generation. They're like, y'all will leave a job in a minute.
This generation won't stick it out. They won't fight for it. They won't. And I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. Like, I don't really know. I just know back then, this is 25 years ago, 20 plus years ago, when you needed that good job. You know what I'm saying? If you got a job with benefits and salary and vacation time and all this kind of stuff. So I would say find you somebody that you can vent to and really, really get some guidance. I would say, if it's really true, make sure your purpose, your passion, and your job kind of aligns. If not, it's going to be really hard. The reason why I was in DEI work for so long was because I felt it, right? It was a passion of mine to make sure other people didn't feel how I felt at that time. So that was my passion. Then my purpose, I started seeing the purpose of helping other people. And I would see the success of other people. I would see people, people call me or write me an email or see me even in a grocery store and say, oh my God, 20 years ago, I was in your class that you talked about authenticity. Yes. So when I would see that, then there lies my purpose. And then I just kind of aligned it to the work that I do. And then, so I would say to your young professional group, align your passion, what you really will go for, even if everybody around you don't support you. Your passion is saying, but I still want to do this.
Right.
And then your purpose is when you can see the result from that passion. And then your job, you get paid for.
Come on.
So,
come on.
Those three things is what I would say.
I love that. I love it. You touched on so much there.
I'm sorry.
No, it's so good. It's so good. But I also want to add to that too, that even with the passions, because I struggled a little bit about trying to align. I kind of went through this time where I was struggling with trying to align my purpose with like my job, because I do work in finance and I love my career. But at the same time, I felt like it was more that I should be. And I only want to bring this up to y'all because we have an authentic conversation. I want to be honest about our journey and hopes that it will help someone. But yeah, sometimes it might not be exactly
right.
Like it might not be exactly, that exact thing. Like the fact that I'm, like you said, able to help people, even out like in my side business and stuff, and through the podcast. Okay, yeah, it might not be exactly like I'm not talking about finance things in my podcast.
Absolutely.
But it's still like I'm still able to help people in my day job. I help people through finance. I help businesses all the time, support them and support the organization that I work for. But also even outside of that, I'm still helping people, like what you said. Yeah. And so I think sometimes I just want someone to also not feel down or feel bad if exactly what you're doing in your career isn't 100% maybe fueling you 100%. There's still like some elements there that you may not realize connect, but they do. They do.
And also, it's not gonna. It's a gradual. I used to say these words all the time. Every time I would get a new job, people go, I would go, yeah, it's positive progression. So as long as you're making positive progression for you and positive progression in your career, then keep moving. It's not going to happen overnight.
Right.
And to your point, helping the matter of help, if you help one person some kind of way, it may not be getting them a loan, like you said, in finance. Right. It may not be helping them but if it's something that they were about to crash out and you listening to them, that's helping them. So so that's another way. Your coworker, sometimes people, my mama used to say too, sometimes you the only sunshine that somebody is seeing. I worked in public schools for a long time. And I remember asking my superintendent, this is a true story. I reported to the superintendent. My role actually at some point started supporting 22 school districts in the state of Indiana. So I started at the largest and I ended up supporting all 22 through a cooperative purchasing agreement kind of thing. I know that's how actually the Dadden group started, but then we'll get there. Yes, and I remember asking Dr. White, who was my absolute favorite, most effective, impactful manager I've ever had in my life. He was a superintendent of school. He was the most hated man in the city, probably the state. And Dr. Eugene White. And that was because he was of order. He was a great leader. He was a leader. He was not a manager. He was a great leader. And I remember in a staff meeting one day, I asked him, this was a one-on-one me and him had, not a staff meeting, it was a one-on-one. And I remember saying to Dr. White, all the other school districts are closed around here, Dr. White, when it's snowing. This was another leadership point 101. All the other school districts around the state are closed when it's snowing outside, when it's a lot of snow. Why don't you ever close a district? And he looked at me and he said, you know why? He said, because if I close my districts, the kids I serve, because we had the majority of minority students, he said the kids I serve would have heat. They wouldn't have food. They wouldn't have shelter over their head. He goes, so I keep my school open so that these kids could have something to eat and could stay warm. That hit me like a ton of bricks, Pansy, because he wasn't just looking out he wasn't doing what everybody else was doing. That's another thing. As far as it related to the schools being closed and stuff. He wasn't even looking at the inconvenience that it was for the teachers and administrators. He was looking out for those kids. And that taught me leadership 101. Like sometimes you have to do things for other people and not to just include yourself. Like you have to think about other people when it goes. That's the reason why I also point to of why DEI was so important to me.
Right.
Because that's helping other people. Absolutely. Not so much, it's just helping me.
Absolutely.
So, DEI, yeah.
DEI.
Getting into that.
Right. Yes, we're going to get into that. So I want to transition on. So you have taken us to pretty much the early parts, and even your time at Indiana. So shout out to Indiana.
Yeah.
But I want to transition over to corporate.
Okay.
Right. So you led in corporate, but you've led in corporate, nonprofit, higher education, including the roles Walmart, Southern Bancorp, and you were actually the first Chief Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Officer at Southern Bancorp.
And Arvest.
And at Arvest Bank.
Yep.
What are the biggest leadership lessons you would say that you learned across those different environments? Because you've been in some different environments. That's what I was going to say, but you've been in different, you pretty much had different, your industry has been different.
Yeah.
So what have you been able to learn across those different industries?
Oh my goodness. A lot of different industries. Same passion, purpose, and job though. So different industries, still same. I still feel the same about the work that I do at all of them. Each one of them came with a different set of challenges.
Right.
Each one of them came with a different level of successes. Each one of them came with a different level of responsibility. And so it's a matter of what I learned here to take to here, what I learned here to take to here, because as you said, I was the first for both Arvest and Southern. So how do you come in and like create a platform to build on? And then I learned from what I learned at Walmart, which was, Walmart's the largest company in the world. So like, what do you learn from that to take to a mid-size, then to take to a smaller?
Right.
It's all about how you position yourself to maintain like steadiness. Steadfast is my word for 2026, by the way. Everybody got that. Steadfast.
I love that.
How do you maintain some steadiness that you don't compromise who you are because you now have different industries?
Right.
And my authenticity, which is a big thing, I would suggest people, and I'm not talking, don't confuse authenticity with how you are at home. That's a different, that's not, I mean, authenticity.
Touch on it. Because we say authenticity
and we think, oh, you mean to tell me I can't be as ratchet as I am at home? That's authentic. I'm bringing it. There's a level, there's a balance between how authentic, your home ain't supposed to match what your work looks like.
So
now, what you believe in and your morals and your values are, but your behavior should not be, should change from if you at home relaxed, chilling with your family members and your friends, then how it should be, your behavior should be in your corporate setting. So you have to learn how to balance that, but still remain who you are. And so throughout the organizations that I've worked for, I've still maintained what I believe, how I believe it. I just kind of adjusted it. I was flexible in how I adjusted it to each of the organizations, because each comes with different responsibility. Each comes with different challenges and successes and coworkers and teams and friends and and you just have to govern yourself accordingly.
Right.
That's true.
I wanted to ask, because a question came up while you were talking, when you were like the first. Like being the first, that also comes with pressure.
Of course, absolutely.
Right, because you're coming in and you are setting the tone.
I am, yeah.
Because whoever comes behind you, they're going to naturally always compare them to who was before.
Absolutely, yeah.
How do you navigate that?
Oh my goodness!
Because you've been the first of a lot of things.
Several. Even my role at Walmart was new. The team wasn't new, but my role was new. I think for that, I actually, I am a visionary type person, and so that part was kind of easy because I knew where I was starting was from ground zero. And I knew kind of how I wanted to make sure that it was being inclusive of everything.
Right.
And so I had a starting point and a launching point on where I wanted to be. It does come with pressure though, because you got to get it right. Like the first time, that's my motto anyway, is if you do it right the first time, you don't have to correct yourself, right?
Exactly.
And so building it takes a lot of courage. And so through leadership, it takes a lot of courage and it takes a lot of consistency. I talk about the 6 C's of inclusive leadership. It talks a lot of collaboration, like finding who your partners are and who your allies and advocates would be. Any of the organizations, and then find out who your haters are, because those are the ones you want to work with too. Like, how do I, take care of you, and as my mom used to say, feed you with a long-handled spoon. Like, how do I make sure that you're all right?
Exactly.
So it does take a little bit of observing and absorbing whenever you go into an organization, and you the first. You got to observe and absorb.
So good.
Yeah.
Observe and absorb.
Yeah.
That is so good. I had a mentor tell me, you need to give, it's a 90-day trial, like a 90-day trial period I was like, trial period.
Yeah.
And what my mentor was telling me is that she she always said, don't go into any organization. I think this is the best advice, y'all. Please listen. Don't go into any organization just I see so many young people do that. And almost like either jumping into friend groups or just attaching yourself like exactly what you said, observe and absorb, because you don't know.
Yeah.
You need to really see how the culture is. Kind of get your feet under you.
Listen and learn and observe and absorb.
Yes.
Like that when you go into any organization, whether you're new, starting a position or not, you need to listen and learn, and you need to absorb and observe. And that means kind of pay attention.
Pay attention. Yes. And I see now what she was saying.
Yeah, when you first come out and you're a young professional and you're excited. And you just excited to work with people, and you want to also kind of demonstrate that I deserve to be here and things like that. But you gotta listen and learn, and you gotta observe and absorb.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Another question that I wanted to ask is, like, through your experience in working at these different organizations, what does a truly healthy and high-performing organizational culture look like to you?
Oh, to me?
Yes. You've been at a lot of different organizations.
I have.
What would you say? And I think this is a good one, because we all have our own goals of organizations that we want to be at, and the culture that we want to feel and be a part of. Just thinking of different, you've been in different cultures. What does a high performing organizational culture look like?
It's a loaded question. I'm gonna speak again from me. What it looks like for me. It looks like leadership who is. I think that effective leadership effective organizations have top-down type of leadership. The leadership can make or break any organization.
Right.
And so I think if there are effective type of leaderships that have a great concern for the people, because as the top-down leadership goes and it sprinkles throughout the organization, there's also leaders at the bottom of the organization who runs it, who makes it run. I've seen organizations where leaders don't even know anybody at the lower level, and they're the ones that's doing all the work. And so there has to be some type of connection. So a good culture for me, a high-performing culture, is that leaderships, the way they run things, the way their empathy and compassion and excitement trickles throughout the organization. Now, here's what I used to say a lot about some organizations. People always talk about organizational culture. The culture is so good.
Yes.
The culture. A lot of people are confusing culture with tradition, because tradition of an organization is the way that it's always done, and people expect that. Culture is when you don't even need the way that it's done, and it's still solid.
So good.
So when you have traditional organizations that are ran because it's just, this is the way that it's been, and this is how we do it, and we expect that from Pansy because she's been here for a while. Or go ask Pansy and see her rules, or and not just really, let's not ask Pansy because I can see it in everybody else. Like I can already see it. And then tradition also gets stuck. And a high-performing organization, a high-performing culture in an organization doesn't get stuck. It's flexible. It's adaptable. It's available. It's open for change. It's listening to ideas of all the employees. Because remember, I said it's for the people. So listening to all the people, because everybody has different perspectives about it. Because everybody has different life experiences. Everybody has different opportunities. Success looks different for a lot of people versus others. So I think that any high-performing culture organization has to be a combination of leading from the top down and receiving contributions from the bottom up. I think and meet somewhere in the middle. But sprinkling people and culture really meaning culture, not just tradition.
Love that. So I want to dive a little deeper. So when you think about inclusive leadership.
Oh, yeah.
Because we talk about culture, and being inclusive, and we hear that a lot.
Yes, we do.
What does that actually look like in practice?
Like what inclusive leadership looks like?
Right.
It looks like, as I mentioned, some of those C's. Collaboration, that you are collaborating with peers and necessary teams and other coworkers and even external partners and what that looks like, community and things like that. It looks like courage. Courage to know when you stand up and speak or when you need to sit down and listen. It looks like how leaders can be inclusive of everybody, not to exclude anybody.
Right.
So when we talk about inclusion, though, it's to make sure everybody's included at some point, and no one is excluded. Can you do that all the time? Absolutely not. You cannot. But how do you do some intentional efforts to make sure everybody is included? It looks like candor and honest feedback. It looks like, let me be completely clear with you, like, and without being personal, some kind of way. I think that could damage some culture too. Is that a lot of people take things personally, Nancy, when I'm just here. We're all here for the same reason, like to make this the best organization, to strengthen our people, to engage and encourage and do some intentional efforts to make sure that don't take it personal because I prefer, I need assistance on this project or something. I'm giving an example.
Right.
I think inclusive leadership involves, like I said, empathy with each other. I think inclusive leadership involves outcomes and results. Collaboratively, how do you get to that? Right. I think inclusive leaderships again mean let's not exclude anybody. Let's try not to exclude anybody.
So good.
Let me show you that I want you to be a part of this.
Right.
Kind of stuff. Yeah.
So good. You've sat at a lot of tables, and really been a part of the conversations, been able to be a change maker. I've seen it.
Yeah.
You have. How do you navigate? Because I'm sure that you can come across challenging conversations, when we talking about inclusion, diversity, equity, and inclusion. And we're going to keep this authentic. How do you navigate the resistance or hesitation when implementing equity-focused strategies? Maybe when you do have someone that does not fully agree with that.
Oh, have I?
You knew he was going to get into it.
So you have to find your own tactic.
Yes.
And work that tactic. I haven't had to strong arm too many people.
Good.
I've had some very candid conversations, real authentic conversations, but not too many. I have had to strong arm a few, but not too many. And my tactic has been, it's been kind of simple. When I'm talking to people, I'm a personable person. I hear people say that all the time.
You are.
Like I don't know people's names, but
You're so
they'll
personable.
say, right. I've had a friend of mine told me, she said, they don't know. You make people feel like they're the only person that they're talking to. Like, forget all this. So my tactic is simple. I find common ground.
So good.
I try not to make us, although we are two completely different people. We are Black women, professionals.
Right.
We are two different people, although we have a lot of the same things in common. Me and another colleague who may be an older white man, we have a lot of differences, but I bet you the more I get to talk to them, the more I have some open dialogue with them and some conversations with them, I'll find out that we have a lot of stuff in common.
Right.
I use an example in some of my trainings sometimes where I say, you like cats, I like dogs. I can't stand cats and you can't stand dogs. The one thing that we do have in common is that we love animals. We have animals that we love. And so I use that as an example that we can forget, but we can still talk about and come to the conclusion that, you know what, your cat is crazy and drives you nuts because they jump all over the couch when you're trying to go to sleep. And then I could say, oh, me too. My dog jumps all over the back of the couch when I'm trying to go to sleep.
Right.
We have now just kind of diminished that we are different and have found something that we have in common. And a lot of times when I speak, I kind of talk to people. I kind of come out introducing myself, not from the bio, right? I come out and say who Latricia really is, like what I really like. Like I don't like my food to touch. And then somebody in the audience will go, yeah, me too. We look different and we went to different schools and we grew up differently and our biases look completely different. But she's right. I don't like my food to touch either. So there goes, a layer of we are so different.
Right.
But no, but wait a minute though. I don't like my food to touch either. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I've kind of had to navigate difficulties with people who don't have some equity focused strategies in mind. And then I get into it. So we find common ground and then I go, you know what? How about this? Here's what we talk about. We talk about equity. And then we kind of go from there. I kind of ease my way into what's in it for them because you always got to show the with them method. You always got to show people what's in it for them. If you can kind of do this, and that's my tactic. Simple. It's not science.
Simple,
but effective. It's not science. Yeah.
I love that. That alone, you dropped a lot of nuggets that we can take away. I think sometimes we want to just get what we want out.
Yes.
But sometimes, you have to think about the other party too.
Yes, exactly right. And you don't want to push them away, especially when you're trying to introduce or you need an advocate with you. You don't want to push them away by coming out too aggressive in the way that you know. Now, some people, I'm gonna be completely honest, when we're talking DEI. So when we're talking DEI stuff, some people just they'll never get it because they don't want to. It's not important to them for whatever reason. Whatever. I mean, that's the 10% of the people who and you don't even spend your energy on those people. Once you realize it, you just go on. But those 90% of folks, they'll get it after you do some tactics. Or I even say maybe like another 20% of folks who will just get it based on the tactics. You'll have like 20% of folks who would do it just because it's their job. So now there's the 50% of folk. Then you got the 50% who's like, I'm in because I'm different.
Right.
I'm different. I don't want to be excluded because I got red shoes on. Right.
So good.
So you have to just pick your battles.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So good. A lot of wisdom there. Okay, I want to transition over to the Dadden group.
Okay.
So, yes. Tell us a little bit about that and what led to that.
Okay.
What led to you starting that consulting company?
So Dadden Group is a comprehensive sort of boutique consulting firm. And I do a lot of things in that, me and my partners. So we talk about organizational effectiveness. We help companies talk about that. We help them from an HR perspective on training, facilitation, talent management. We give strategies on HR practices from. I just had a client here recently that I was doing some work around. They wanted to just do what I'm calling an equity assessment. That's just to find out in the company, how the employees, how their people think they're doing around being equity focused.
Right.
I started it because back to when I worked in public school systems, and I worked directly for the largest school district in the state of Indiana. And a lot of the other smaller districts were going to my superintendent, Dr. White, and saying, how can we get, because I was holding trainings and I was hosting, we were the largest district. And so everybody did what we wanted, did what the largest school district did. And how did they, but they didn't have a head count to have a person like me. I was the only one in the state. And they didn't have a head count to do things like me. And so my superintendent was like, let's talk about how they could contract you out. And he goes, let's talk about how how you can still support the districts, because that's what you want to do. Because I was going, I don't have the time. And he was like, and I'm not paying for you to go help that school district. So he goes, let's just talk about let's figure out how we can do that. And I got with my mentor. We got a proposal together. I took the proposal back to him. And then he took it, and I was with him. I'll never forget this either. We were in Charleston, South Carolina, and I was speaking to, it was a superintendent's conference, and I was speaking to him, and I kind of pitched it. And they all said, okay, we want to do the Dadden group. And it's just kind of grown. It started with just doing like training and cooperative purchasing. So I was a purchasing manager for many years. And so it started with just doing that, because I carved out a piece of being a purchasing manager to help minority and women-owned businesses. And they wanted to know, we talked about what's in it for them. It was about the money. How can we get in on this cooperative purchasing stuff that you're talking about? And so it kind of went from cooperative purchasing to training to HR to working with nonprofit boards to figure out how to help do some board development, to creating curriculum and strategies for how to be more inclusive and how to help leaders be more inclusive. And so it's just kind of broadened. And I've had the company since like 2010, maybe. But I've always worked for other companies. And while I was working for the other companies, I just kind of back burner it, because I wasn't, I had a full-time job, and I didn't want any conflict of interest or anything like that. And so here recently, in January 2025, let's do it. Let's go full-time. And so, wow, it's been pretty good.
I love that.
It's been good. So if you have a need for any of that.
Yes. And where can they find you?
I'm at there. You can do thedaddengroup.com and reach out that way.
I love it.
Or I'm on LinkedIn. You can find me on LinkedIn. I'm Latricia, pronounced Latricia Hill-Chandler on LinkedIn.
I love that. I love that. Thank you for that.
Yes.
What gap do you see most in organizations that you've talked about the things that you focus on through your consulting firm, but what is the biggest gap that you see that a lot of organizations face?
Oh, that's a great question. I think what I'm seeing is a people gap. Organizations, of course, are about how they make money. Organizations, of course, are how they are perceived. I think there is a lack of people touch, like real time, the human capital piece of organizations. There's a lot of, because what I found is when I do things like the equity assessments and have some honest feedback, it's anonymous most times, it's really anonymous. And I give the feedback back to the leaders of what the people have said. It's kind of like, that's how they think of us, or that's how they think of the organization. And that's true. And so I think that that's a big gap, and that's probably one of the most important gaps. Again, I always talk about a happy employee makes a productive employee. And so
that's true.
And so if the people are there and they're not feeling like they're valued or appreciated, or they feel like the organizations are making decisions just with the leaders and then telling them what to do, there's no impact, there's no inclusive behavior or discussions that's including. I find that to be I found that to be one of the biggest challenges and hurdles within organizations that I'm talking to now. So I kind of come in and give them a strategy on how to be more inclusive, to include employees, especially the smaller firms. I work a lot with social impact organizations. How do we provide a little bit more impact and community serving organizations? And with that, you got to have your people.
You do.
Yeah.
You do.
You can't just chase the dollar on that one.
So good.
So,
when you think about long term with the Dadden Group, and you took the leap, I just want to commend you because it's not easy.
No, it's not.
It's not easy.
It's a hustle. If you're a hustler, and I didn't realize I was the type of hustler that I am. But because when I started in 2010, it was kind of given to me. I wasn't really just like hustling. And what I mean by given to me is like we set the stage first and then built and I wasn't really ready for that. And I don't think God was telling me at that point either that he was just trying to get me there. And every time I would try, it just wouldn't kind of do it. And then it was like, now's your time. And so I did. I just kind of took the leap. I'm still growing. I would like to see, because my background is in DEI, and as you know, DEI is attacked. Right now, it's being attacked. Over the last few years, people are.
We swept together.
Okay.
Yes.
It's been a shift in how I talk about it, how I approach it, and I think it still can be done. I just think, So what we don't say, the acronym diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Right.
It's still the work. The work still is there. The work is still needed to include everybody. The work is still needed to have equity practices, equity-focused practices inside organizations. People's behaviors still need to be, training still, facilitation still needs to happen on how you treat people in the workforce. All of that. So that still needs to happen. So I think the Dadden Group, we're in a good position right now to help organizations see that. And it don't have to be large, huge organizations with multi-thousands of people. It can start as small as, smaller organizations who are, who want to make a difference and realize that their people are leading the organization.
So good. Yes.
So at some point, I would love to, just do it all for everybody. But I think once people realize it, it's simple. It's as simple as onboarding. So I had a client and we talked about an onboarding strategy for me to help them create something around how they onboard employees. Do you know how important that is?
So important. That first experience. I don't ever forget my onboarding experience.
That's exactly right. And within the first on your onboarding, you know immediately if this is a place I want to work.
100%. You know what the structure is going to be like.
Absolutely. So how do we make that more engaging and intentionality behind? We want you here.
So good.
Instead of, this is just a job and we're going to just go through the motions to get you. No, how do we want you, how do we make sure you realize and recognize that you're here? So worked with a client here recently to kind of help them do some onboarding strategy. Same with nonprofit boards. Board of directors, I'm on several boards. And so how do we make sure that everybody understands what the organization is about, that we need you, and it's just the people aspect. I think people humanizing stuff, how do we make sure humanity still exists?
AI taking over.
AI taking over. AI and evil people.
That too.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I'm happy that you touched on just to be honest, the impact that the political climate has made on diversity, equity, and inclusion. How has that impacted your career?
Oh my gosh.
How has that impacted your business? And even working with other organizations, because a lot of organizations were in support full on of DE&I. Like, it was a whole movement.
On the surface. It was a moment. It was a moment.
That's good.
It wasn't a movement. It was a moment.
Wow. Maybe they made it seem like
because they had to. I mean, I think, oh my gosh, the political pressures of DEI, it's been so politicized over the last few years that it's changed the focus back to the people. It's changed the focus from people to just a moment of a check the box exercise. A lot of organizations have just checked the box.
Yeah. So
and what I do see, what I commend are those organizations who've said, we can change the doggone title.
Right.
As long as the work is still here. As long as we continue to do some intentional efforts to make sure people feel included and that our practices are fair, that we are have representation across the organizations. I respect those organizations that say we're not going to bow down to the political pressures of how we treat people.
Right.
It just goes back to it all goes back to humanizing it.
That's it. And people focused.
People focused.
I think we focus so much on our skin colors.
Oh yeah.
And our different races and all these other different factors. But if you at the center of it all, people focus.
Absolutely.
Organizations that thrive, that are very successful, you said it.
Yeah.
They're people focused.
They're people focused. And so I think that's the piece that so many people, and then it's also about what will they think. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I get it. I've worked for organizations before where the customers or the consumers drive the practices of the organization. I think there's a balance. You can do that and recognize that your people are your asset too. I think there's a balance in that. And that's where Dadden Group kind of comes in. We kind of say, you can still make money and you can still, your customers, let's do some data informed decisions. Let's see how many customers we have that may really, is it thousands of customers or is it 10 customers who may get mad because we've decided that we are going to stand for something.
So good.
The politics, it's I don't know what's the number now. 30,000 Black women were affected by executive level, corporate level, executive jobs because
and are leaving corporate America.
And are leaving corporate,
at a rapid.
I think it's like up to 30,000.
Yes.
That's significant.
Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh, this conversation.
I know. I knew it's gonna be good though. It's fine. I knew we was gonna talk about
you. Phenomenal. You set the tone as a leader, a woman, a Black woman. I'm a Black woman. I'm a young professional coming up.
Yep.
And it's so much that you touched on that I literally have faced. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm learning and I'm facing and I'm overcoming and every day I'm striving to be better. So I just want to thank you. And just the last question I have for our listeners, you've given us so much wisdom, so much advice. But the last piece of advice I want you to share with us is for someone listening who aspires to lead but may feel overlooked, may feel uncertain, may feel excluded. What would you want them to know about their potential and their ability to create change?
Loaded question. Before I answer that, let me just say to you, very proud of you. Saw you, growing up some years ago, entering into corporate America.
Yes.
And saw challenges that you navigated, but how gracefully you did that. So continue doing what you do.
Thank you.
And thank you for having me. I knew we was gonna make it work. What I would tell a young professional today, you have to find your center. So what centers you outside of your clocking in and clocking out of whatever you're doing? Like what really keeps you focused, makes you happy, brings you joy, that kind of thing. I think you continue to do that. I think organizations gonna come. Young professionals, y'all gonna have 900 million quadrillion jobs before you find exactly this is it. And you probably will. I mean, you know, you can't give up on somebody make you mad at work and you say, I don't want to work here no more. Like, you know, if that's what you truly want to do, if it's other parameters around why you don't want to work there, understood, it's something better, go for it. But stick it out, try it out, stay there as long as you can, and get what you need to get from it, because every what don't kill you make you stronger, and so just keep for every, like we talked about early on, for every of the organizations that I worked with, multiple industries, higher ed, K-12, nonprofit, banking, retail, I've learned something from each one, which has kind of allowed me to create the Dadden Group, and to make it so all of my experiences. So gain those experiences, get you a good group of, I have a sister circle. These are my best friends.
No.
And my sister circle is my girls that we all have lived corporate America. Even some have not. I got a teacher. I got I got a stay-at-home mom as a sister circle. Get you somebody that you can talk to and they can understand and they can relate, and put those people around you. But they praying folks, they positive folks. They're people who's not gonna tell you, girl, you should just leave. They're gonna be people that's gonna say, okay, how about you try this? And then they'll be on you. They ain't some yes ma'ams, girl. I support. No, they support you, but they're gonna tell you you were wrong in that situation. So get you a group of folks that help that, and then again, mentors. Mentors are extremely important. I think you find you somebody that you can just kind of, even if it's just, I remember just calling my mentor just like, blah, 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 and she listened, and then she'll go, okay, so what do you want to do about it? Like put the ownership and the accountability back on me. So get that. I think those are some key points I would leave with our group of folks here.
Yes, you've given us so much good advice. Get you a mentor, and also
a sister circle.
A sister circle, and observe and absorb.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, so good.
Yes.
Thank you again.
Thank you
for coming on the podcast. Y'all, I'm Pansy Johnson. This is It's a YP Thing podcast. We're all about encouraging, educating, and elevating young professionals. And this is the Leadership Corner series. Y'all stay tuned because it's going to get better and better. And y'all just heard from Miss Latricia Hill-Chandler. All right, I'll see y'all in the next episode. Peace.